Mr. Doggett is recognized to strike the last word.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to the authors of this legislation. While I'm supportive of this legislation, providing some relief to Americans who suffered lost property damage, perhaps an entire home, those who have suffered from hurricane damage in Florida, to wildfires, to the devastating storms in my own hometown of Austin, I do have two concerns. First, this committee continues to deny the need to address the root cause here, the contributing factor to intensified weather patterns, and that is the climate crisis. There's a very good reason why so many casualty insurers are fleeing some states. They recognize what this committee has refused to recognize, the growing harm of climate crisis that is very real. So long as this committee is bound by Republicans to fossilize thinking and fossil fuels, there will come a time when even the massive resources of the federal government will be insufficient to provide complete relief to those who suffer from natural disasters made so much worse by unnatural causes. I'm also share a second concern, and that is our fiscal situation. This bill is expensive. It is $5 billion. It is an expenditure through the tax code that is every bit as real as if the Appropriations Committee approved the handing out of checks to those who've been victims of these disasters. This $5 billion is part of a not very good day here in Congress for the deficit. Yes, Republicans talk about debt concerns when they're looking for an excuse to block new educational opportunity legislation or to strengthen health care. But that talk does not apply to what's happening here today, because in addition to this $5 billion, the first bill coming out of our new speaker is $12 billion in cutting resources for the effect of cutting resources for the Internal Revenue Service. Our colleagues will, of course, remember that the very first bill to come out of this Congress by Republicans, their top priority was to protect tax cheats. And today, their desperation to protect those cheats is so far-reaching that they will not agree to afford assistance to Israel unless the multi-million-dollar corporations and the wealthiest, most well-connected Americans in the country get protection from enforcement from the Internal Revenue Service. Cutting funding reverses a decade's worth of IRS budget cuts that have led to audit rates for large corporations being sliced in half, and audit rates for those making more than $1 million or more in annual income falling by 70%. We're headed back in that direction if this debt approach of Republicans prevails today, and I certainly hope that it will not. With restored funding that we provided last year that they would eliminate, the IRS has been busy reversing the decline in high-end tax enforcement, ensuring those at the top pay what they owe like the rest of us. Thus far this year, they've been able to collect $160 billion in unpaid taxes from those who earned $1 million or more each year. Apparently, this has been too much for the new Speaker and the Republican majority, because once again, they are saying that their top priority today is to protect those tax sheets. So while it's important to address natural disasters and those who are victimized by them, it's equally important to address the root causes of those natural disasters and to avoid a fiscal disaster with more and more tax breaks and less enforcement by the Internal Revenue Service. I yield back.